G'day guys, Cam Wild Touring. I'm sorry about wearing this silly microphone, but it's really windy down here on the beach and the waves are quite noisy too. Anyway, we're chatting about tyre deflators today. 3 months ago, iCHECK sent me a set of automatic tyre deflators and I was a little bit hesitant to use and review them, to be totally honest with you. If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that about 12 months ago, I did a review on the Camp Boss deflators. And I wasn't really happy with them. They were inconsistent and often stopped short of set pressures. Anyway, so for that reason, I was a little bit hesitant about accepting these. But I've given these 3 months of testing and I'm really glad that I did use them because I'm really quite happy with them. So they're a new deflator made by iCHECK, which is an Australian company. And it's the same mob that make my tyre pressure monitoring system that I've been running in the car for about 6 months. And that was another reason why I was quite happy to give these a go, because I knew they do build good gear. So these are an automatic tyre deflator, meaning you set your pressure by adjusting the dial on top to the laser etched marking that ranges from 10 to 30 pound, and then you lock it in at that set pressure by tightening this locking ring. I've got mine set to 16 pound, which is my go-to beach pressure for my local beaches like this one. And that's it for setting these up. Basically you just screw them on your tyre and they will deflate until they hit that set pressure and then they'll stop and you can take them all off. So that means that you can let down 4 tyres at a time, which makes these quite quick. Actually, I'll show you that later, they're very quick. They're also really well priced. They go for just over 70 bucks, which is very competitive when you look at other deflators on the market. But the price to me doesn't really matter. They've just got to work well for what they're intended to do. If they don't work and I've got to unscrew them, check the pressure, adjust it, put them back on to drop the pressure because they didn't stop where they were supposed to, then they're useless to me. So these have been really accurate and really consistent and I haven't had to do that. So yeah, they're well priced and they work really well for what they're intended to do. So construction of them is pretty simple really. It's an aluminium body with some laser etched pressure markings on the side of them there. When you open it up, there's a stainless steel spring inside and an O-ring. So you can separate these into 2 parts like I've done now if you needed to clean inside it. I haven't actually needed to do that yet. I guess you would only do that if you were to drop these in some bull dust or some mud or something like that. But otherwise they're just set and forget, which is the beauty of them. Anyway, I will pump my tyres back up to 40 pound and we'll throw these deflators on and I'll show you how accurate and how fast they are. And I'll also do the same thing with another couple of deflators I've got here. Righto, they're all set to 38 pound going by the tyre pressure monitoring system, and we'll try the iCHECK ones first. So there we go. That's it, that one stopped. Oh, I better go by the last one really. That seemed pretty quick, but I'm gonna have to check the footage when I get home. Let's check the accuracy. So I had them set at 16 pound. So as you can see, the iCHECK deflators are really accurate. Let's do the same test. I'll pump tyres back up and let's try the Camp Boss deflators, see how they go. This one stopped about 10 seconds in. Right, that one stopped and I can't get it going again. So let's forget about that one and let's see how the other 3 go. stop clock. Again, I'm not sure what the timing is, but I'll put it on the screen. But checking the accuracy now, it's kind of, unfortunately, as I expected. This one, the rear left just stopped well short of set pressures at 33 pound. And the other one stopped anywhere from 20 to 25. And you saw when I actually set these, I set them halfway between 15 and 20 on the actual deflators. So I would have expected to get around 17.5 all around, plus or minus 2 pound. Yeah, that's sort of been my experience with the Campos deflators. Let's move on and let's do a valve core removing deflator like this one. This one was like 20 or 30 bucks, it's a real cheapie. These do sort of range from 20 to about 100 bucks for the ARB easy deflator, I think. But I actually quite rate these, they work all right. It's just a little bit more labor intensive. You're bending down, you're on your knees. In terms of accuracy, I think we'll get fairly equal pressures between the tyres, but how accurate that dial gauge is, I don't know. Let's find out. Time. I've dropped this one just a fraction too low. So you've seen the time on the screen there. Again, I don't know what it is. In terms of accuracy, let's have a look. 19 pound. 19 PSI there and 3 of them. One of them's dropped down to 15 pound. That was me. I let one go a little bit too long. So yeah, accuracy on the valve core removing deflators. Can't knock that. They work really well. But hopefully by watching that demonstration, you can see what I'm trying to get at. I think the iCHECK deflators, for the money, they're really easy to use, they're really easy to set up, and they're really accurate. And for 70 odd bucks, I think they're probably the best bang for buck. Anyway, last year, when I did that video review about the Campos deflators, there are a lot of suggestions in the comments saying that I should try the Storm deflators or the MaxTrax InDeflate deflators. Now, I've actually used both of those. I've owned both of them, so I can chat about them and why I think, why I'd choose the iCHECK over those. And I think that's relevant to anyone that's looking at buying a deflator at the moment, so we'll do that. Storm deflators work really well. I had a set years ago. I can't knock them. They're well made. They're accurate. They're relatively fast. I don't know how they'd measure up against the iCHECK for speed. I imagine they'd be similar, but I haven't done a side by side. But they're certainly as accurate as the iCHECK deflators, and they're also priced similarly. They're both around the 70 to 80 buck mark. There's not much in it. The only reason that I would choose the iCHECK over the Storms is just because these have those laser etched pressure markings on them. They're a lot easier to set up initially, which wouldn't matter if you're just going to set them up with a set pressure and then never change it again. But say you want 16 pound on the beach, and then next week you want 25 pound on a full drive track or some gravel or something, then the iCHECKs are going to be a little bit more user friendly. So that's that. The other one, the MaxTrax InDeflate, I'll cop some flack for this. I'm just going to give you my opinion anyway, and you can take it or leave it. I did buy the MaxTrax InDeflate after a lot of suggestions in that last video, and I really like MaxTrax as a brand, but I just didn't like that product. It's expensive. It's like 300 odd bucks. It's bulky. It's by far the biggest deflator I've ever used, and I found it fiddly. Every time I pulled it out, I put it away, it ended up tangled and all over the place. And then I found inflating with the InDeflate was fiddly as well, because you've got your air compressor attaches to the bottom of it with an air chuck, and then you've got the 2 lines that go to your tyres that both have tyre chucks on them as well. 3 of these things, and one of them's not going to seat nicely every time you use it. That was my experience anyway. And you've only got 2 hands to try hold on these 3 different chucks. And speed-wise as well, you're inflating 2 tyres through 1 tyre valve, and that's going to be the limitation. So it's never going to be as fast as having a twin pump air compressor on 1 tyre at a time. I guess you're bending over a few more times, but it's going to be quicker and less fiddly. That was my experience anyway. And I know that there are just as many people that really rate that MaxTrax InDeflate as there are that don't. So yeah, I don't know, read some reviews and make a decision for yourself. But for me, I wasn't into it. I had to go with it for a few months. I persisted. I really didn't like it, so I sold it to some other fella that wanted one. Anyway, yeah, I've used a few deflators over the years, and I really like the iCHECK. I'm going to buy a second set, so that I can have one set to beach pressures, like this one is, 16 pound for my vehicle, and I'll probably get another set and leave them set at 25 pound. You wouldn't need to do that. I could just change these on the fly, but it'd be nice to have 2 sets for deflating the car and the caravan when it's hitched on at the same time anyway. So yeah, I really like them so much that I'm actually going to buy a second set. Anyway, I'm sick of talking about tyre deflators, and you're probably sick of hearing about them. These are the iCHECK TPMS tyre deflators. They go for about 70 bucks. They work really well. They're consistent, they're accurate, they're quick, they're easy. You can adjust them on the fly. They're a good thing. I want to go for a fish before this wind swings, so I'm going to sign off. Thanks guys, see you in the next one.